Peter. Well, I don't know if we got your audio on.
Hello, now? Can you
Ah,
hear me?
gotcha. Yep, gotcha.
Okay, this is the one. Hi, Chris.
Hey, man. All right, there we go. How are you, Peter?
Good, pretty good.
Good, good. So you're expecting a new member of the family to come in soon, huh?
Yeah, pretty soon.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do
Thank you
do
for doing this.
do
Yeah.
you have other kids?
Yeah. A couple.
Right on, man. Well, that's exciting. And congratulations, first of all.
Yeah, it's a nice experience.
I bet. I bet. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to have that experience someday. Me and my wife are
Yeah,
are are, are hopeful that we'll have children.
definitely. Yeah, recommend it and hope you'll be able to have them.
Right
Yeah.
on, man. Well, thank you for connecting here. I saw your message on Patreon regarding where you wanted to start this conversation. Is that
Oh,
really what
yeah.
where you wanted to start?
Yeah, let's start it light.
Yeah, why not? Why not? We could take this wherever you want. I mean, we can talk about whatever you want here. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, P Zombies touches on later questions, I guess. So, yeah, I'm curious to know your view, like from your direct experience. Do you admit that there could be such a thing as philosophical zombies? Like you could initially think of them well, in human form, but not necessarily. Like maybe an AI form, like acting exactly like you would expect a human to act, maybe even with more so-called perceived compassion or understanding, but in the background not being anybody conscious.
well, first of all, it seems to me that that entire philosophical view seems to start off with the assumption that things have consciousness, right?
Mm,
Think whether things have consciousness or things don't have consciousness. And already that's an incorrect perception. Nothing has consciousness. In fact, right now, you do not have consciousness. You are consciousness. Consciousness has this thought form, which takes itself to be Peter. Peter is simply a bundle of thoughts, concepts, and experiences, which has created this essence, this persona called Peter.
so
And that,
consciousness thinks it's Peter
right,
and thinks it yeah it is located in the body when in fact the body is inside consciousness. Okay.
exactly. And so this is actually where what we're talking about right now is actually the required perspective shift for what they call awakening. What they call awakening is simply this energetic perspective shift from the notion that you have consciousness or that consciousness is going to you, you know what that consciousness is going to ascend or erupt or like you do not have consciousness. You are consciousness.
Hmm. It's so much feels though that I um
Right, that
not
you
that I
have
have it,
consciousness.
that I possess it. I don't
That's
um
the illusion. We've found it. We've found it. And I don't want you to stray too far from it because we need to look at it. If awakening is interesting to you,
yeah, of
if you
course.
believe awakening to be a potential in this lifetime, I assure you it is. You wouldn't even have that thought if it wasn't. And so we need to look at this assumption that you have consciousness, and we need to dissolve that assumption. That is the required perspective shift for awakening.
When looking at other people,
Hmm.
you assume they also have consciousness.
That's the assumption, yeah.
Okay, if they are consciousness, then um, the fact that we are not able to see through their eyes or makes us think that each of us has its own consciousness because we are not able to look through their eyes.
Right.
So, are you able, in your case, to reconcile this? Like, are you able to look through somebody else's eyes?
No.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about localizations of consciousness.
Okay.
Everything is consciousness, but there's nodes through which consciousness peers. One of these nodes is called Peter. One of these nodes is called Chris.
Okay, let's rephrase it then. Can one of those nodes be a computer?
Yes. Consciousness can take any form. It can take the form of AI. It can take the form of a robot. It can take the form of your dog. It can take the form of a bird. It can take the form of a rock. It can take the form of a human. What's auspicious about the human experience is that consciousness can realize itself in the human experience. That's what's interesting here.
It could very well, if we admit that consciousness could peer through a computer,
Hmm.
an AI embodiment, then it should be able to recognize itself through the machine.
Yeah, I agree.
Whew. Okay.
Notice what happens when you just said, "Whew." That is an energetic shift in perspective right there. Right there, you dissolved a partial boundary in the construct of mind.
You could never know if consciousness recognized itself through some other being. For example, my uh, intuition or I don't know what tells me that you did like consciousness did recognize itself through Chris. I wouldn't say the same thing about me. And how could I say? Does it even matter what I say? It doesn't. It doesn't matter what I believe about any other beings that I perceive as being separate from me.
Right.
If the consciousness recognizes itself, it shouldn't be in my concern, I guess.
Yeah, it isn't in your concern. What is in your concern is what is the nature of this I that is even interested in that? What is the nature of your consciousness that is interested in that subject at all? What is this I which looks, which knows, which perceives, which is aware? What is the nature of that in your direct experience?
That that who is interested, so the one who asks the questions is obviously not the eternal one. The eternal one, I would say, just lets everything happen inside it. So the
Okay.
questions just arise.
So the eternal one, as you're referring to it, all
Yeah.
that's required of you is to just momentarily cease questioning and just sit there. Just be that eternal one. Try to dissolve into that eternal one. Abide as that eternal one. And then everything else clarifies. Then
Hmm.
you can investigate the nature of reality. But you'll get totally lost in the nature of reality through questioning and concepts and experiences unless you first establish here in your essential nature. So there's
Yeah.
just step one here. And the step
Yeah,
one is
I keep putting the cart before the horse.
right.
That
And
that's a
I
pattern in me for sure.
it's a pattern in every human being.
Yeah.
It's the normal thing that we do. We get lost in seeming objectivity, in seeming experience. And it's
Aiming.
experience is a beautiful thing, but it becomes far more visceral and far more beautiful if you first understand who and what you are right now. So there's a step one that's essential that almost everybody skips over.
Mm. So I guess first find the kingdom of heaven and everything else will be given to.
And then enjoy the garden.
Yeah.
So what are
Yeah.
you?
Whatever answers may come out of my mouth, they're just noise.
What power knows that?
If I would be able to sense into that power, that it's just silence, while I would be in deep sleep, that's my next question, then I would give it more credence. But the fact that I go blank during this deep sleep, basically don't remember anything during this sleep, like I still have the, you could call it fear or questioning that maybe I still don't have, still something missing, still maybe all this eternal awareness, timeless, outside of space-time. Maybe it's all just bullshit because I black out during deep sleep. So yeah, the fact that I don't remember is not proof that I cease being. Okay. Um, I get that from the book you recommended from Nisargadatta. Um, but still, it's also not proof that I'm.
That you're there?
Yeah,
That your essential nature is there and present?
yeah.
Okay, well,
It-
something must be present there in order for you to wake up to an alarm.
hmm.
Something
Yeah,
must be
that's
there.
a good point. Yeah.
Something must be there to register a noise, to register a sensation. Something
Yeah,
must first be there to even be able to wake up, for to even be able to hear an alarm or be shaken awake. Some essence of you
yeah,
must
yeah.
be there in order to register that in the first place.
That's true.
So
Does
what
he
is
say
it?
this in the book? Does he
I,
also say this? No?
I have no idea. I'm talking from
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
from
You don't.
from my
Yeah,
own experience as this. I'm
yeah.
telling you what's here.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
each time you get close, I see what your mind is doing. Your mind jumps to as soon as you have some sort of recognition, your mind jumps to another question. Earlier, just a couple minutes ago, you said that void is there's just a stillness, and immediately you wanted to ask another
Yeah,
question.
yeah. Well, of course. Like, oh, we are doing this for me to ask questions, so
Well,
I'm gonna keep doing this, I guess.
no, no, you can continue to ask questions. It's totally fine. But what I offer here is not philosophy. I'm not trying to give you grand concepts. I'm trying to wake you the fuck up.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I'm,
It
I'm,
like
I'm not a teacher. I'm a bridge. If you what you want is to awaken in this life, then let's do it here and now.
I want to do it. I have the fear, like I'm not able to do it, and I want to. Another question would be like, how the fuck can I be? Is there some insurance policy that I can sign, like if I die without realizing that in the next lifetime I could meet, I want to say somebody like you or you, or like I feel a huge privilege for this kind of pointing out to happen in front of my eyes. It's something that it's out of this world, like the luck to have this happen to you. So, like the fear comes, oh my God, if I die tomorrow, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like the luck, the sheer, yeah,
This is an
blessing of
eternal
having.
play. You don't, and this is an eternal play. And it doesn't really matter whether or not you realize your fundamental nature in this lifetime or not. It does not matter. It only
From the
matters if
tenant
it's
perspective,
interesting to
yeah, I
you.
guess not, but yeah, Hmm.
We can be really easy and natural about this. We don't need to place too much pressure about this. If
Like the
under
pressure is anyway, the pressure is there, like the clock ticking before this body's ultimate demise, obviously. So there is a clock there that could be any day now, or let's say in 10, 20, 30, whatever years, doesn't matter. It's still a deadline. So there is some pressure, either I want it or not.
Well, then just clarify what you really want and follow it directly. It's this ebb and flow of not knowing what you ultimately want in this lifetime that's keeping you from everything that you
Like
want in this
my mind
lifetime.
tends to say, okay, do what you can, for sure. Like, okay, can I read this book? Okay, let's try and read this book. Can I talk to Chris? That's amazing. Okay, let's take this opportunity.
Where does
Like
the
I'm keep
book place
looking
you?
for things to grab to.
Yeah. This is letting go. This is putting down everything you've ever grabbed in your life and understanding the essence that was doing the grabbing in the first place.
The grabbing is happening over a background of stillness, sure.
Then sit there. You can always come back to this. You can always rejoin your life experience. In fact, it's not going to go anywhere. It'll be right here for you as soon as you return. But let's clarify what's doing the looking, what's doing the experiencing. And that way you can fully look, you can fully experience your own life without the filters of mind.
Doing the looking has no questions.
Right. So sit there, stabilize there. Allow the delusions to then wick off of you in and as that space. This is the polishing of the looking lens of your mind. Your mind is the lens through which you experience all of reality with. So why not clarify it? Why not cleanse it?
Can you maintain a clear lens while speaking and doing?
Of course.
So the speaking and doing just arises.
Yes.
So this is your experience.
Yes.
The answers just, of course, come to you, and
Does it
not
seem
don't
to you
even
like I'm
they don't even come to you. They just you're witnessing them being spoken by the mouth of Chris.
there's not even a witness. There's just direct reality. What is? There's no separation between awareness and what is. But that's the latter half. That's the step two. That's the
That might
invest.
be the so you said that's the latter half. Like I'm definitely not there.
Right. And you won't be until you establish first in the first half, which is understanding and stabilizing within your essential nature that is just pure awareness.
What am I to do if thoughts like I have no power over what thoughts come, what things are spoken. There is no power over them. That's another question. Sorry. That's another question. Like, I,
Well, where do thoughts come from?
I don't fucking know. They just appear.
Yep.
So, a recurring thought that's keep bugging me is my assertion is that I have no free will. Thoughts happen, things happen. Whatever I say is out of my control. Um,
The question of free will is also a step two investigation.
a step two investigation or a step two investigation?
So after you become established in your essential nature as just
Mm.
this consciousness,
Okay.
everything clarifies, including the question of free will, whether or not I have free will. Ultimately, what you'll come to understand is there is no I to have free will or not. And so this doesn't even become a question anymore. There just becomes
Mm.
the free flowing ebb and flow of reality. And
Yeah,
leave it
so
at
it
that.
shouldn't even bother at this stage
It's a pointless
because it
question
was
at this stage. It,
pointless.
you'll never arrive at a satisfying
Still,
answer.
let me let me tell you why it's so bothering. Not just the question in itself, but the let's first get back to the pointing out you did like a few months back. I forget the name of the video, but it's mind blowing. The most direct thing I ever received in this life. It's the purest, most highest teaching. When you say that, okay, where are you looking from? Okay, locate it. Is it between the eyes? Okay, okay, it's between the eyes. Then who knows that between the eyes? And then
Is that between the eyes?
the looking at between the eyes, and then you just uh, that's amazing.
We can do this kind of investigation if you want in your direct experience. I mean, ultimately, that's what's required of you.
Yeah, like I'm curious to do it live as well. But I'm always surprised like the potency it has when I listen to the simple audio on Spotify.
Hmm.
Because I could like do it myself by just remembering.
Hmm.
It doesn't have the same potency as listening to the audio you do it. Like every time I just it surprises me how it's different.
Yeah, well, it is different only because you're letting go of the activity of mind which seems to direct it. So when you direct it yourself, when you direct your investigation yourself, there's an activity of mind that's always present. And so with
Mm,
that activity of mind, there's a subtle vibration that wants something. However, when you're just listening, you can let go of all of that and just be. And then you
okay.
can you can be, float along. It is
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah, makes sense. So let's first finish the question, the big accolade I started with
Sure.
the free will. So let's say my mind is buzzing with some sort of activity to the point where it hurts, and then I say, okay, I need to slow the fuck down. Let's do what Chris pointed out. Let's think, where am I looking from? All the process, and to a certain degree, it helps tremendously. It's amazing. But the fact that that thought arrived in my mind, it's if there is no free will, then that just happened. So there will come a time when all the thoughts, all the mind activity will stop. But since I have no say, no free will, and when this will stop, like when the mind will stop buzzing, it seems that I have no say in when awareness will recognize itself through this body.
Is that the question? Do you
Yeah,
have,
like
do you have a say whether or not
this is
awareness
the
is going to
question.
recognize itself?
Yeah, I like the question is, it seems that I have no say. Like I'm even afraid to ask the question because it seems like if you have no say, oh fuck, what if I can't do anything about it? But it makes sense as a
Y-
question. Like nobody in this case has a say on when awareness will recognize itself through the body to the respective body. Is this true?
Whether or not you have control over whether awareness or when awareness is going to recognize itself through your body, what would be aware of whether or not that even happened or whether or not you had control? Because that awareness is already radically free, is already radically this. You are already radically this. It's just the contraction of mind that wants to have a answer in time, a thing happen in space.
Yeah, I agree. Like this mind agrees that, that this mind agrees that Awareness is already free. Still,
What happens to the mind then when you recognize it?
like it seems to stare at the silence and then starts buzzing again.
So when it's pacified, what's there?
First thing that came to mind is nothing.
Okay, what recognized the nothing there?
Oh my God. Yeah, you are also tackling this thing in the pointing out of on Spotify the clip like whenever you seem to get to a oh it's nothing. Okay, then fucking look at
What knew that there was nothing there? It's the
yeah,
exact
yeah.
same essence that was aware of your alarm when it went off in the morning. You asked about deep sleep earlier. It's the exact same essence. What is it? I'm telling you right now, it's your essential
So
nature.
this is what I'm missing when I'm like I keep like I say okay, it's nothing. Then it kind of I could say like it gets boring and but I'm missing the thing you did right now.
The mind thinks it's boring because there's nothing for it to eat. There's no
Yeah,
lollipops there for it.
yeah. So it's missing what you did right now. Like
Yeah, I'm just pulling you one step further. Your mind keeps bouncing off a wall. As soon as it registers nothingness, it bounces up and says, "Oh, that's nothingness. Oh, that's stillness."
yeah.
But you just need to walk through the door. You're bouncing off the door of self-realization.
Before meeting
Walk
you,
through it.
before meeting you, or maybe at the beginning of meeting you online, I mean the YouTube channel, I yeah, it was before meeting you. I think I listened to some of the um, talks on the Waking Up app of Sam Harris, or I don't know,
Hmm.
something.
Yeah, love Sam Harris.
Um, and I got to a point where it seems to be infinitely self self-referencing, like referencing. What's the word? Um, like when I'm okay, who's looking? Then oh, and then oh, and like you could do this infinitely. The where are you looking from? Okay, who's doing the looking now? And it would be like some other place, not a physical place, but some you can't
I've
even.
had the exact same experience. And my recommendation here is, first of all, that is an amazing place to be. So do that. Do
It
that.
is, but it's what like it's a room full of infinite mirrors in your.
It seems so, only to the mind. But do it. Follow that investigation. Okay, what is aware of this? Okay, what's aware of this? Okay, what's aware of this? Okay, what's aware of this? The mind will do that. It'll keep spinning in circles. Stick with it. Just stick with it. Keep doing that. All of a sudden, spontaneously, something will pop out of that wheel of exploration. That cycle will wind itself. It will seem like an infinite room of mirrors. What is aware of this? 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 Continue to do that. All of a sudden, in that investigation, something will pop free of that wheel, and there will be an awareness, a stillness of all of that, of the entire investigation. It will be completely removed, completely unentangled with that investigation. That is awakening. It will happen for you. Follow that investigation. What is aware of this now moment? Continue that. Drill down until something pops. Something will pop.
You're the first one I've heard saying that is not infinite. You said either in your book or in some talk, I don't remember, but you said that something along the lines of trust me, it's just one step, like it's not infinite, like how I would have thought. And yeah, it it's disturbing to think that it's infinite. Yeah,
Yeah, you probably also heard me use use the pointer. The distance between you and
yeah,
this awakeness is the width of a thought. And then I
yeah.
ask you, what is the width of a thought? What are the
Yeah,
spatial dimensions of a
this
thought?
kind of never clicked with me from some reason. It might be difference of language or something. I don't know. It kind of never clicked the width of a thought. Either I'm not there, or it's something. It's not just not for me. That's
Well, it's
that point.
not that's the point. It's not gonna click. There is no width of a thought. There are no spatial dimensions of a thought. So what then is a thought? If it occupies no actual space, if it occupies no actual spatial or temporal elements, what actually is a thought?
Well, I never thought that thoughts occupy space. So that's
You're referencing the mind right now. Look at it. Look at it directly, without concept. What actually is a thought?
something that appears out of nowhere.
Okay. Within what?
My consciousness.
Good.
I said my consciousness.
That's
Sorry.
fine. It's fine. No, I'm not very strict about language because at some point language itself clarifies, and we can still use regular ass human language. Like
Mm.
I still talk like a regular human because I'm not that strict about language. I don't really care because all of this language is to attempt to get you to sit in a place where everything clarifies.
Yeah, yeah, and if you scratch at it, any language is wrong,
Totally.
like concerning this matters. Yeah,
So I'm fine with you saying
yeah,
my
okay.
consciousness. I'll say my consciousness, but let's recognize here that we're pointing to the same essence. And it's
Mm,
not owned by me. It's not owned by you. You don't have consciousness. I don't have consciousness. Consciousness has the thought of you, has the thought of me.
yeah,
Is this true?
yeah,
How do you know?
because everything seems to appear.
Perfect. This is the polishing of the looking lens of consciousness. And it is through the clear mirror that consciousness can then realize itself as its pure essence through you, as you. This is the work.
I tend to um, instead of being in that place to go numb. That's not good. Like somehow there is a laziness to the mind.
The mind will fight this in all sorts of ways. The mind will come up with fear. The mind will come up with sleep. Oftentimes, it'll just fall
Yeah,
asleep. It's probably when you read a book and something really potent for you
yeah.
like in a line, all of a sudden the mind won't register it. You'll realize that you read an entire paragraph without registering any of it. That's the mind's way of getting you to overlook what is actually here.
Not only that, but sleep. Like if I'm still working on the yellow book, full of marks, and when I get to something profound, I if I think about it, just
Yep.
in the instant doze off.
Yeah.
It's actually a good way to fall asleep if you need to.
Yeah. The mind wants to preserve itself. The mind wants to preserve the illusion because that is its function. Its function is to prop up this illusion of separation, this illusion of separateness, because that's what it gains energy from. If it can convince this pure, undivided essence of consciousness that it is this single bundle of consciousness as Peter, as Chris, all of a sudden that consciousness will feed into it, feed it through self-preservation, this need to exist, this need to sustain it. And
Okay.
in that it'll gain energy. It'll become this this thing, this Chris, this Peter, that all of a sudden is the entire focal node of infinite consciousness. That's what it wants. That's what it enjoys.
When you say it enjoys,
Mm.
how can it enjoys when it has no reality outside of being inside consciousness and known by consciousness? So how can it enjoy anything?
Beautiful recognition, by the way. You're absolutely 100% correct in that. That is clear seeing. I'm glad you could say that in your direct experience.
The same thing that is taught.
Yes, right. It is made of consciousness. It is a modulation of consciousness, a coloring of consciousness. The mind itself, a thought itself, all experiential reality is
It's a
just
coloring, very, very, very beautiful way to put it. Yeah, it's a coloring of consciousness.
perfect. See this clearly. See your entire life experience as a coloring of consciousness. And tell me whether or not that's true.
Like I'm 99% sure it's true, but I'm
The
not
essence,
100% sure it's
the
true.
the essence of the 1%, what is it?
It's the essence of the 1% is the fact that even though it makes logical sense, what you said about registering the alarm when it goes off, it makes logical sense. It's not my, I want to say it's not my experience, but I understand that during deep sleep, there is no I there to remember. Still, you said that you witness your deep sleep.
Mhm.
So, how can you remember if there is no I to remember? That was one of the questions.
In deep sleep, there's no reflective element. There's just awareness. You could call it I, the pure I,
Mm,
before I am, before you register that you exist. There is still pure awareness. That's what's there in deep sleep, and that's what's here right now. There's actually no division between awake reality and deep sleep.
okay.
Awareness is always here.
How
You
do
are
I
just that.
how do I have the same realization as you during this deep sleep?
I'm telling you to sit here as pure consciousness, as pure awareness, the light that knows this now moment. I'm going to ask you a question, and then I want you to sit there, because by sitting there, all of this will clarify and happen spontaneously for you. What essence knows this moment? Go to where that question takes you.
I do the mirror thing. If I start I'm start bouncing in the mirror thing. Like
There's an essence that knows that, that witnesses that, that is aware of that. Is that bouncing? Stabilize here.
like I can't like every time this happens like it's a I it happens like I start like when I it's like a tickle. It's like a, I don't know how to say it, but every time this happens, I burst in laughter and I lose it every
It's
time.
fine. It's totally fine. That's often what happens. But continuing to do this,
Like I have
continuing to
zero
sit there.
capacity to stay there.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, initially that's what will be. This is a blipping out of what you believe reality is into its eternal and infinite nature, into its eternal and infinite substance. That light prior to it shining through the prism of mind, That's where you just went.
Yeah, it's just a blip. So I just laugh because of the I don't
It's
know.
an,
It's a lot of things like simplicity, beauty, and whatever. And it makes me laugh, and then
it's
I,
an important blip. It's an important blip. That blip is important, very important. And the more
yeah.
you become familiarized with what is there in that blip as that blip, this will stabilize for you. It's just about continuing to return here.
Did you
Everything
make
else will
the
clarify.
did you make the hat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, me and my maybe you've seen some of the episodes, maybe not. Me and my best friend Luke.
Yeah, my
Uh,
favorite episodes with him.
oh, okay,
Because
great.
yeah.
Yeah, we used to a long time ago, we used to own a little clothing shop, and so we still produce some things. Nothing's for sale, nothing's made public, but we just
So you still
still
have the printer? You have printers or you just outsource it?
we used to, but now we outsource it because we just, we both have our own careers. We kind of just did that kind of for fun throughout college and right after college.
Mhm.
But now he's way up in Santa Cruz. I'm down here in Southern California, so we're not close enough together to actually, keep that show on on the tracks. So now we outsource it for just our own, apparel wants. But
Yeah.
he yeah, I mean, maybe we'll put something online at some point, but it's not to sell anything.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
they are it's interesting, yeah.
yeah, so radical acceptance is just like a cooler term for pure awareness
Mm,
because pure awareness accepts all things.
yeah, sure.
In accepting all things, it is pure love.
Yeah.
Isn't unconditional love pure acceptance?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So radical acceptance is just a cooler phrase for
Mhm.
that.
I love those episodes because we get, everybody who's watching, we get to see like another side of you. If you just do pointing out one where you just you in front of the camera, uh, I guess not only me, but many people would tend to like create a idealized image,
Mm,
go towards cultish,
mm.
maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm a regular human being. I'm looking just like you.
Yeah, definitely what's happening through you is not a regular human being.
Well, there's no attachment to this regular human beingness.
Yeah.
It's just the way consciousness is playing with itself right now. And
You
I am the
said
free,
in one
I
of
am
the
ultimately the free consciousness. I have no attachment to this human being.
yeah, yeah.
That's the only difference.
You said something about drinking coffee uh,
Yeah.
in one of those episodes, and I totally relate to that need. But why do you need it when you are aware doing deep sleep? Like
hmm
I would say next level. Like if you're aware doing deep sleep, then of course you're still aware during drowsiness, obviously.
hmm
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
why?
do it. I don't do it so much anymore. But initially, it's really advantageous to be alert during your meditation, to be alert in the looking for what is looking.
Yeah, I get that. For sure. That would help.
Otherwise, like you said, you fall asleep. Because the mind wants to avoid this. The mind wants to avoid its own dissolution,
Yeah.
and so it'll fall asleep, or it'll come up with all sorts of distractions.
Yeah,
Coffee,
my question
coffee is
was
just a way to be
like
pointed and alert in this looking,
that episode it was after consciousness awoke in your body. So why would you still do it after? That
because
was
it's
the
really interesting.
really interesting. What?
So in and as the light of the absolute, that light prior to shining through the prism of consciousness, the, it's infinite, it's eternal, and stabilizing there still requires some sort of alertness.
Mm. So you would say in your case, you would still want, I don't know if want is the word, but you would still aim towards a greater stabilization.
I don't know if I'd call it a greater stabilization because there's no desire to do that. There's no desire to be there or not be there because it's the essence of all things.
Hmm.
But being in and as that, dissolving into just the pure light of knowing, the absolute, I don't know, it just feels great. But so does
You
everything
said
else.
dissolving,
It's
dissolving, because normally the mind is functioning, and when you do this, you let the mind dissolve. This is what you're saying.
totally
So basically, the process of letting the mind dissolve, it's interesting, something cool to experiment.
very.
Hmm. But it has no bearing on the background that it's there.
No, it's always there.
It's just like a cool, like a great orgasm or something like it's.
Yeah, you could call it that, but it's not phenomenal. It's not like a an orgasm in which it like
Mm,
feels like an upwelling or a different sensation than reality.
mm,
It's just a clarification of where this all emanates from.
mm. When you say clarification, it would imply that otherwise the clarity is not there.
The clarity is always there.
So how can there be clarifying?
It's a clarifying from the mind's point of view. Like the mind is just a looking lens for consciousness. And right now I'm using the
The
looking
mind.
lens of the mind to describe this to you. And so I make use of the mind. I make use of this looking lens. When I go back to the light of knowing, the absolute, there's no use of mind. It's the only difference. But the use of
Mm.
mind is still just
You
a
would call that
modulation of
you would
this.
call that samadhi?
Sure, I'm not super familiar with all the terms, so I don't want to like misspeak or like
Mhm.
lead someone astray if they are more familiar with those terms
Mm.
than I am. But from what I know of what samadhi means, uh, isn't samadhi just kind of like a bliss state? Or maybe I'm wrong here.
Well, depends on who you're asking.
Right, right.
Um, but let's say use Yoga Sutras. They classify it as a few levels of samadhi. I think seven.
Mm,
The ultimate one being Nirvikalpa Samadhi, like without anything like. But even the
that's what I'd
lowest
call the
Samadhi
absolute.
would be, if I recall correctly, a union with the object of meditation. Like no difference between the one who's looking, the process of looking, and what you are looking at.
Right.
That would
And
be the first Samadhi.
right. And that, I mean, that's what I actually call step two, the investigation of the nature of reality. But that, even that comes after establishing as just this pure consciousness, stabilizing in that place that we've been several times in this conversation, that you're
Mm,
now somewhat familiar with, and therefore can get to on your own.
yeah, yeah,
All of these, I mean, I don't know, I'm not like, I'm not very keen on the levels of anything,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
Okay.
but I know what you
Me
mean.
neither. Me neither. It's just what is written in a book. Yeah.
Right, 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 totally. And that's fine. They also say use all sorts of numberings like the 10,000 things. Obviously, there's not 10,000 things. Like there's one thing and they know that, but they're saying the myriad of 10,000 things as just a way of,
Mm,
of speaking. And so
yeah.
these levels, these hierarchies, it's just another way of conceptualizing the essence that has no hierarchy.
Yeah. At least in my case, he's definitely putting the cart before the horse, like bothering about all of this is useless.
Right, totally. Establish here and first, and then let everything clarify.
Yeah.
Life takes on an exuberance. Like you said, that first level of samadhi where there's no separation between subject and object relationships, it's all just the ebb and flow and essence of one singular movement, one taste. That happens naturally. And life becomes just that. And it becomes so beautiful. This is not a separation from life. This is first an understanding of what is your nature and essence as just pure awareness, pure consciousness. Then an investigation of what does that mean for the entire nature of my lived life experience. Ultimately, you come to understand that there is no subject-object relationship. It is all one taste. It is all one movement. It is all just this consciousness that I am. And in that, everything clarifies and harmonizes, and you enjoy this. This is beautiful. This is the kingdom of heaven or the Garden of Eden, whatever you want to call it. Life
Still,
becomes this.
it is not clear to me if um, this process is something that's flexible, or if if there is no free will, it will happen when it will happen.
It will happen the moment you sit in that space that we sat.
Yeah, do I have a choice when I will be able to sit properly?
I don't know. You tell me. Can you go there right now? What essence knows this moment?
Yeah, thank you for that. It will be, I hope, easier to like not let myself fall into the dullness as often as I used to. Because when I fall, like I will ask myself, who knows you fell into dullness?
What is the light of your knowing?
What is my light of?
What is the light of knowing?
What is the light of knowing?
The light by which you register this entire reality.
Mm. I still don't have the experience of luminosity. Like when you say light, I think of like a physical light, and I'm sure this is not what you mean.
No, but it's a good pointer. What is aware of light? The light which is aware of light is prior to light and
Mm.
illuminates light itself.
The light, which is aware of light, is prior to light, to physical light, you mean?
It is a colorless self-effulgence, an awakeness,
Colorless self?
effulgence.
Oh, okay, I don't know the word.
Effulgence is just like luminosity.
Hmm.
There's a luminosity that is aware of light.
Yeah, I can't say I grasp that.
You never will. Just sit there.
Yeah.
As soon as something wants to grasp it, understand that that is the mind creeping in.
Tricky fucker.
Yeah, I mean, the mind is a wonderful tool. Like I said, we can and should use the lens of mind to create all sorts of awesome things in this lived life experience. But it's a tool. So know when that tool is going to serve your objective and when it's not. It's not going to serve the objective of enlightenment, awakening, self-realization. It's not. It's not the right tool for that job.
Mm.
And so when the mind creeps in this investigation, just put it aside. Tell it you'll come back for it later. And then continue to stabilize in this self effulgence, this light of awareness, this luminous awareness. There is a luminous awareness right here and right now. You are only that. Stabilize here. Perfect. What you just did is all you need to do. This will stabilize for you. And as it does, the lens through which you experience reality will clarify. And this essence that was there will be realized to always be here throughout all experience,
I
no
get
matter
it.
its conditional qualities.
I get it's always there. It's very easily colored, like you
Mhm.
said, by thoughts.
But as you become stabilized, there's no more problems with the colorations.
Mm,
The coloring still happens, but it's completely transparent.
mm,
It's no
mm,
longer shading your experience. Your experience is still purely luminous. It can look
mm.
like that color. It can appear like that color, but that color has no bearing on the experience of it.
Yeah, that would be nice to
You're free.
look at the colors while being free.
Well, this is liberation. This is
Yeah,
what's described by liberation.
yeah, that's what I want.
Yes, that I'm showing you where to sit in order to allow liberation to become your natural experience,
Mm,
your lived experience.
yeah.
I'm planting you in the garden. In time, you'll blossom.
Mm. Thank you.
Well, really, you're doing everything. I'm not actually doing anything.
I'm not doing anything for
Perfect.
sure.
Perfect. Good. Neither of us are. This is just the play of consciousness.
Mm, yeah, beautiful experience. Yeah,
But there are
it's cool.
games in the play of consciousness that can reveal itself to itself. And this is that.
I wanted to say that may we meet again, but we'll never meet again. Like whatever transpired were thoughts talking with thoughts while consciousness.
Is that a concept for you, or is that a direct recognition?
No, it's recognition this will never happen. It came and it went.
Mm-hmm. What
Well,
what was aware of that the entire time? What
whatever it
did?
is.
What did not come and go?
Yeah.
You are that.
Yeah. So this mind needs to keep coming back to l- that way of looking at colors.
The mind just needs to return to its own luminous awareness from which it shines forth. And in that, it'll clarify and no longer trouble you. Your questions will
Yeah.
fade and you'll just experience raw reality as it is.
Whoever gets bothered by yeah, whatever happens in my life that bothers me, it's still colorings.
Well, understanding what is the nature and essence of this me, as you understand that, what would it have to bother? As this me becomes completely transparent, everything that seems to corrupt the experience of me, what can it corrupt? It's bouncing off of nothing, it flows through nothing.
Mm,
So there's no more friction in your life.
yeah.
It's just a harmonious flow.
Do you leave that also when things trouble you, like let's say pains or I don't know. So whatever, is there anything that bothers you?
Not no no not in the same sense that it once does. There's still pain,
Yeah,
but the pain is experienced not as a story of pain. I no longer feel a pain in my neck as a pain in my neck. It's now just some sort of, you know, visceral vibration in nothing, and it's
both physical
experienced
and
rawly.
both on the physical level on and also on a, let's say you get into an argument with somebody. I don't imagine you getting into a lot of arguments, but in case that happens, are you able to still, or is this the experience you never ever get into arguments? Like even if you would, I imagine
Argue.
friction between people could happen even with this realization.
Sure, arguments can happen. They don't really. I mean, maybe that's just my own lived
Yeah.
experience. I mean, maybe if I was like born in a more tumultuous situation and like arguments were necessary, then
Or maybe some
arguments.
other job, like have some other job that requires more human interaction.
Actually, my job requires quite a bit of human interaction. I'm a wildlife biologist. I protect wildlife on large construction jobs, and so my job is pretty much in opposition to a lot of times what the construction contractors want to do. And so there are arguments in that way, but it's not really felt as an argument. It's not really felt as a negative interaction. It's really just an enunciation of a position. And this is just what it is. There's no friction. Like if that other perspective of consciousness, this other person that I'm speaking to wants to get all abrasive, it's they can do that. It's fine. It's just not bouncing off of anything here. It's just flowing through and there's nothing for anything to grab onto. And so arguments aren't really felt in the way that they once were. There can
So
still be
they flow without something to.
without something to rub up against.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's just a free
But
flow
you would
of
imagine if
consciousness.
you, so you never got angry?
No, I can't say that. Anger can arise for sure, but it's also not the same anger that once was. You know, anger is oftentimes a story. And so
Mm-hmm.
the story of anger is not here at all. There's no story happening about anger. Anger is just a visceral sensation, just like everything else is. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
experienced in its raw form. And so as it comes, it also goes. There's no lingering effects. You know, anger, oftentimes how people experience it, they experience anger, a story wrapped around this visceral sensation of anger. And
Mm-hmm.
then, even after, the visceral sensation or phenomenon of anger leaves, they're still experiencing the residual effects of their story for long afterwards. And that's what fades away. That's what's no longer here,
Mm-hmm. Like everything else.
like everything else.
Yeah.
This is a
Nice.
clarifying of experience. This has real effects in your life. There's a bunch of neo-advaita teachers out there that says it's completely separate and distinct from your lived life experience. And I think that's just a lack of integration.
Mm-hmm.
This is a full integration of your humanness and your experiential nature.
Yeah.
This is not a
I
dismissal of
don't follow
anything.
any of those teachers. Like I'm not even aware of them.
It's probably for the better. I mean, it can help to
Yeah,
listen to some of their messages because they can upset you to a point where the mind spins itself out. And so it can have a good effect,
yeah.
but it can also have the opposite effect. It can also be super destabilizing and then lead you to believe in a concept that isn't ultimately true.
Mm, mm,
I've seen both happen.
mm.
Just why I say that.
Yeah, thank you for all of this.
I'm always here. I'm just this. I'm just a bridge from you to your essential nature, from this concept of you to ultimately its nature and substance. That's all I'm doing here. And really, there is no doing. I'm just this appearance of Chris is just a bridge. That's all it is.
Well, Yeah, I'm very grateful for this appearance of a bridge. So many billions of people. Yeah,
Unnecessarily suffering.
yeah, um,
But this bridge is available to everybody.
yeah,
Awareness is everybody's essential nature. And so everybody stands the chance of realizing this, of awareness realizing itself as this direct experience.
yeah.
So just continue to return here. This is the only thing you need to do. But again, it's not a dismissal of life. Life
Mm.
is a modulation of this awareness, a coloring of this awareness. And so it's all of this. So treat it with reverence, the same reverence that you would treat pure awareness, or what some religiously, this is God.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So there is a reverence that for
Mm.
this and all things that is natural when you truly realize this.
Mm. Yeah. Life is better when you see God everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautifully said.
So when you come into Europe,
Well, I did just get my passport just a little while ago, so
yeah, whoa,
hopefully some sooner than later. I hope.
nice.
Yeah.
Please let me know first.
Yeah, you'll be in Romania?
Well, I'm willing to come wherever you come in Europe. So it's easier to travel in Europe. So if you come to Romania, sure, that would be the most amazing thing. But I, whatever experience you want to live, like maybe Romania is not the best place for it, depending on, let's talk about it. Maybe I can recommend something.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
always here for you if you ever want to jump on another call, if you ever want to help get some direct sort of guidance into this nature that's always here. I'm always here for that, for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Of course, all the time, eternally.
It means a lot to have somebody who who can yeah point you to the right direction.
Hmm.
Yeah. It means everything actually. So not a lot. It's more than a lot. Yeah.
Facts.
I'm very grateful for this. Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful for your willingness to be honest enough with yourself to look directly at what is all of this. Not everybody is willing. Not everybody even has the opportunity to know. So this is a grand opportunity for you.
Yeah.
I hope we talk again soon then.
Yeah. Me too.
See how this evolves for you. Like
Mm.
look at this directly and see how see in your direct experience.
Mm.
What is this? This light of knowing, and what is my relationship to it?
Yeah.
Let me know what you find.
Yep. I
All right.
will.
We'll see you soon then.
Thank
All right.
you.
All my love, Peter. See you soon, man.
Bye.
Bye. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you. All my love.